Could you imagine if you woke up tomorrow and had 50% less wrongness about you and everything? Ponder all the times in your life that you've been made wrong that caused you to slow you, stop you, doubt you, control you, limit you, judge you. The idea that you're wrong is always a lie. That's always a judgment and always a lie. I didn't know that I had this point of view in my head all the time. It was with so many things in my life. I was always coming to it with the idea that I was wrong. There's this beauty and this freedom when you go beyond the wrongness of you. So I want to talk to you today about wrongness. And let me tell you a little story because I think it may illustrate it and it may help. And you're like, wow, what a fun subject. Let's talk about wrongness. Okay. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And unlike in New York, the light at the end of the tunnel is not New Jersey. Okay. So don't worry. We're going somewhere. I promise. Okay. A lot of you know I love horses. Okay. And I mean, these amazing, phenomenal creatures. I have loved riding horses for 20 years and 20 plus, actually. I had a few experiences on horses when I was younger where people were like really terrified. So it was a little strange. But so here I am, I'm riding the other day. We're at a 7-day event. We're at our ranch. And I'm riding my horse, one of my horses, which is a stallion. And it's funny because people are like, you're riding a stallion? I'm like, yeah, stallions are amazing creatures. And they have so much just potency. I mean, it's amazing to ride. And our stallions are so gentle. So I'm on my really kind, really potent stallion, and I'm having trouble getting him to do what I want. And I feel like an idiot. It's funny because I didn't realize this was an ongoing theme. And so we go by some mares who are in heat. Everything on the ranch is in heat right now, apparently. And we go by some mares while we're on this ride, and he starts, like, and not like doing that, like standing on his hind legs or anything. He just was like not listening to me, and I couldn't control him. And after a few minutes of trying to, move and get his head and get connected with him and all this stuff and it not working, I just felt like the biggest pile of shit. I just felt so wrong. And so Cody, who's our ranch manager, who's a great rider and just a really cool guy, I was like, man, and he could tell the energy that I was doing. And he's like, hey, he said, that's not your fault. He's like, you're riding a stallion. The mares are in heat. He's like, that's not you. Essentially saying you're not wrong. And I went, holy shit. Why did I say holy shit? Because it wasn't just that moment. What I started getting free from was the fact that over the last 20 years, I have assumed every time I get on a horse that I'm wrong. Now, this was amazing to me because I love riding horses, but I also had this sort of avoidance a lot of times when somebody would say, do you want to do something new? Do you want to learn this? Do you want to jump? Do you want to whatever? I'd be like, no. And so what occurred was I was like, oh my God, when he said you're not wrong, somehow it landed differently. And what happened was I started then because I didn't see myself as wrong. And I didn't know that I had this point of view in my head all the time. Guess what, though? It wasn't just with riding horses. It was with so many things in my life. I was always coming to it with the idea that I was wrong. So how many of you, without even realizing it, have this sense in your world that you were wrong for anything you do that you haven't done 100 times, or even if you have done it 100 times or 1,000 times, you still feel wrong? And by the way, who told you you were wrong when you weren't? And you bought it, and so now you look for where you're wrong everywhere you're not. One of the things I found is possible is like for any of us, if we open up a new space and we just kind of be it with people, maybe put some words to it if people are willing to hear the words, but it actually seems to open up that space for them too. And this is one, could you imagine if you woke up tomorrow and had 50% less wrongness about you and everything? I know, I always try to prove I'm right. That's the other thing. When you feel like you're wrong, you always try to prove, because you always try to prove the opposite of what you believe you are. But if you didn't have the idea that you were wrong, which by the way is a lie, if you didn't have the lie that you were wrong, you would no longer try to prove that you were right. So where did you first buy the lie that you were wrong? And whose point of view was it? And how much of other people's wrongness have you perceived and tried to take out of their world that wasn't yours? What this did, you know how sometimes you'll hear something at just the moment where you need to hear it and everything just goes like truly a watershed moment. What this did was I got more present with my horse when I was like, oh my God, I'm not wrong. And then what happened was I started riding differently, and my horse, I was able to have this connection with my horse that I would have at rare moments that just became our connection. Now, why am I bringing this up? Not because you're going to go ride a horse right now, although some of you may, but because when we're functioning from the lie of wrongness, and please recognize one more time, I want to say this, and please hear me. The idea that you're wrong is always a lie. That's always a judgment and always a lie. So the idea that you're wrong is always a lie. But when you're functioning from that lie, what you do is you always hold back a part of you so that you don't what was the word? Like spew all your wrongness on something. Like, so you don't let you fully show up in any area where you think you're wrong. So for example, one of the things that we're really good at is comparing ourselves to other people in many situations. And we're really good at, if everybody else is in a box like this, and that's what they consider real, even though we might be like this, we put ourselves in a box like this. Today I was actually on an event, and there was a speaker before me who functions completely differently than I do. Okay. For me, I like to be like, I've got my ADD, ADHD, OCD, and autism, and doing my best, just like having as much fun and laughter and lightness as possible. And the person before me was very fixed and rigid, and they do their thing their way. And that's great. You know, people love them and it's awesome. But in the past, probably before this horse thing, there would have been a part of me that was like, oh, I must be more rigid like this person. Except if you've ever seen me try to be rigid, it is not fun. And that's what I was doing on the horse until he said, you're not wrong. And it just melted my world. So here I am, I get on this event today, and I was just like, I'm going for it. You can love me, you can hate me. But now that I know I'm not wrong, I can just be me. And this is the beauty of it. Okay. It's like, oh my goodness, I used to try to function like other people. I used to be like, oh, let me explain to you why this should work. I used to be like I'd get on an event like that and be like, let me explain why you should choose consciousness because it makes you so happy. oh, it's so good. It's so good. I'm not going to actually be happy. I'm going to try to be like everybody else. Oh, by the way, consciousness lets you actually be you, whatever that is for you, with no judgment. But I'm not actually going to be that. I'm going to be like these other people. Hello. So there's this beauty and this freedom when you go beyond the wrongness of you. So how many lies of wrongness have you been using to limit your choice, limit your joy, and limit your exuberance are you choosing? How many lies of wrongness have you been using to limit your choice, your joy, and your exuberance are you choosing? Now, embodied within this is the awareness that all the ideas of wrongness are actually a lie that we've been enforcing on us. And my sense is something is different in the world now. Some of the doors we've all been opening are actually allowing this conversation to be here. Because there are lots of things that I've talked about, and it was like, you couldn't really just say it. You had to sort of go around it because it wasn't yet ready to be popped like a big zit. Well, now my sense is it is. So things are changing. So once again, how many lies of wrongness have you been using to limit your choice, your joy, and your exuberance are you choosing? Do you realize my whole life I made myself wrong? Even recently. But I wouldn't stop myself. I would just have this sort of break that always wanted to go on because I was wrong. And there's such a freedom in not having to do breaks anymore. So just ponder, without having to get it cognitively, ponder all the times in your life that you've been made wrong that caused you to slow you, stop you, doubt you, control you, limit you, judge you. Thank you for hearing it. I can't tell you what a gift that is, because man, like you hear it and your world gets greater and our world gets greater. And here's the deal. I literally have ADD, ADHD, OCD, and autism all rolled into one. And I used to try to stop it like I've been talking about. What I realized is I'll just be me and show up. Some people love it. Some people may hate it. But at the very least, having somebody be them gives you an invitation to know that at least somebody on the planet is doing it, so you can too. So everywhere you decided you can't, everywhere you've been trying to look outside of you for how to find you, everywhere you've been looking outside of you to try to find you in somebody else's answer, instead of not only looking inside of you, but also choosing those things that you know are more like you, like ways to respond to things, things to create, things to choose, ways to be. Wow, what else would be possible? Just get a sense right now if you woke up tomorrow and there was no wrongness in your world. How beautiful would that be? And so what happened was, so I'm riding my horse and I had this connection with him, like I said, that I'd only had a few times before. And it was this sense of communion with this creature where I could just think at him and he would do what I was asking. And always before, it was like I was pulling on his mouth too hard and I knew it, but I couldn't get him to do it because I was holding me back and I wasn't being present. So how many things have you been holding you back and not being present for that you can now change? Remember, what's true for you makes you feel lighter. A lie always makes you feel heavier. And please don't follow me, follow you, okay? You know what is true. It may take you a while to unbury it. That's okay. It takes us all a while. Look at how long it took me to unbury a huge part of wrongness. 20 years. And by the way, my life has gotten phenomenal and amazing, and I'm so grateful for it. And I create more and have way more fun. And still there was this thing. So no matter what you have going on, it doesn't have to actually limit you. It just gets easier and easier and easier the more of this you find and the more of this you let go of. If you woke up tomorrow and had no sense of the wrongness of you, how much more gratitude would you have for everything? And is it possible that when you're not in the wrongness, that's when the magic exists, sort of continuously? And so that is my invitation for you. What energy, space, consciousness, and choice can I be to never choose wrongness again with total ease?